All right, and that leads us to stages. You commented on this, Z, is like the limited number of stages we've kind of gone through so far in the game competitively. Now we're looking at, with hazards off, morphine off, a possibility of over 100 stages for competitive play. And at first I was thinking, wow, that's awesome. Think about all those stages. Now I won't have to just get in and go Smashville, Smashville. We could actually mix it up a little bit. It's not just the same six stages. The possibilities are limitless. But then I started thinking, okay, 103? That's that's a lot. That's a lot to kind of keep track of. That's a lot to learn the ins and outs of. And I started thinking, well, maybe instead of having everything open, we can test them out and have a base of like say 20, 25. I mean, even then, that's a lot. We're already tripling what's allowed in Smash 4. So, where are you guys at in the possibility of legal stages and just the number of legal stages and how we can just tackle that?
So right now it says there are 103 stages. So when the game comes out, it's going to be almost a nightmare trying to figure out which games are good to start, and unlocking all the stages too. Um, I think a good place to start when we're picking stages to be legal is to go back to the previous games, because a lot of the stages are coming back, and seeing which of the stages were legal in the previous games.
All the stages come back.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but legal for competitive
Yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you start going from there. So you have your core stages from previous games, and you can start adding on. Oh, this one starts working. But when if we have like 25 legal stages, it just starts becoming really hard. People start banning 5 stages at a time, 6 stages at a time. So I think a good starting point would be maybe like 15 stages maximum or something like that.
So my perspective is on stages is there's a lot of good stages, but I want to keep it simple. So for my weeklies, what I'm going to run is 5 starter stages, like five, like only five, whatever we're going to pick, and I'll select them. And then same thing as we do now for Wii U and Melee, when you strike and you decide on one of the stages. And then when it comes to like counter picking and legal stages, basically I'm going to leave it up to community to figure out what is legal. But in my opinion, like there's going to be so many different stages and so many different variables that I don't even want people to ban. Like I just want people to lose their to pick, and that's it. Like make it as simple as possible. I mean, that can develop any other way. I mean, anybody can disagree because it's not the way I want it. But for me, it's just like it comes to the point where there's if we waste time of thinking like, oh, I'll ban this, but then there's like 5 variations of Battlefield where it's like, oh, I ban Battlefield, but oh, that's also Dreamland and it's also Fountain of Dreams, kind of. But like you're like, but it's not, but it is. So like I think that's just confusing. And from my perspective, when it comes to bans, the reason why in Wii U and in Melee it gets very complicated is because 3 out of 5. So what I would encourage any local TO, and something that I want to do is we are designing a rule set where we are promoting 2 out of 3 until basically top 8. Like because the reason why that's the case, because if we develop a rule set for stocks and timer and stages where we essentially, because every player is going to ask for more 3 out of 5 and early on, and that's going to be really hard because what that does, more 3 out of 5, the more stage complications you're going to have. And I think that's going to make things way more complicated than it should be. And I think if we designed a rule set where it's fair enough for whatever 3 stocks, 6 minutes, that's good for 2 out of 3 until top 8. I think that'd be sufficient. But from then on, like, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of testing. And then also for me, as someone that's running this venue for Esports Arena, like unlocking stuff is gonna be really hard. And even with just working with Gaming Gen, we have like over 100 switches. Like the worst thing, the most stressful thing when I'm at Evo or Genesis, or especially when I'm going to be at Genesis 6, is if I'm at a setup and like one of the levels are not unlocked. So I hope we pick the levels that are already unlocked, and then the ones we add on are the ones we unlock later. So like, I just hope that's how it starts, because it's a huge headache when you be like, oh, we're missing Dreamland, and you're like, oh, just play on, fuck it. You like just deal with it. like I just like don't want that to be the case, because I feel like that's gonna suck But I mean, then again, hopefully it's easy to unlock everything, or maybe there's a tournament mode.
Coming from a player's perspective, I'm actually very excited for all of the different stages. We're going to have 103. I'm thinking 103 different counter picks. If we have, the hazards turned off and every stage has some sort of viability. I mean, we saw in the demo where Frigate Orpheon now has a ledge on the right-hand side of the moving platform, whereas it did not in Brawl. And I feel like that's a viable stage now. It's got a little bit of a wall. Some people are counter picking, has 2 ledges and a platform above to mix up landing options. So I can see some...
Wiley Castle's
Yeah, exactly. And I'm seeing all these stages that have viability, and I kind of want to address a point that you make, Bear, and that was about the whole getting rid of the ban system. And I think that if we have that eliminated, I would love to see, barring, and this is a point I'm going to make a little bit about any kind of restrictions on the stages and the games and the music, but if we can have a plethora of stages to pick from, I would love to see counter picks, ranging between the 1 and 103 with the Omegas and the Battlefields included, because you're going to now have a versatility in the game where it's going to get to a point where you need to just be a good player and be able to adapt on the go with different variations of platforms, because I feel like that's all the counter picks really will become that are hazards off and, difficult, like flipping of the stages like Frigate or your, stage changes like in Pokemon Stadium. If we have all of those off, I think it's going to come down to really creativity. And I'd love to see that just on a player's perspective. Get rid of the ban system. And if people are going to lose game 1, go to their stage, then you know what? You're going to now be down a game, and you're going to have to face an elimination in a 2 out of 3. And I think that's going to be a lot more fun because it's going to force you to try to win game 1, to win game 2, to get to, so you don't have to get taken to some, crazy stage. But even the crazy stages themselves can't be too bad because I feel like Nintendo's doing a great job of already displaying what it means to be in a competitive or hazardless stage. So it'll be a lot of fun to watch. I, for one, am all over just the, whatever is obviously not ridiculous, kind of like a 75M, as long as stages like that, Pac-Land or,
any Z-axis.
Exactly.
Z-axis, I don't like Z-axis because it messes with the hitboxes in Smash for Wii U. Mr. Game Watch stage. For some reason, the hitboxes were different.
Or like Duck Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So provided that we don't have any of those issues with some of these stages, I feel like having so much for players to choose from will make such a great spectator sport as well, because if you see someone go to Fountain of Dreams, then Pokemon Stadium, and then whatever new stage is going to come out for Smash Ultimate,
Midgar.
Beautiful, right? It would be so much fun.
Or like Shadow Moses Island.
Exactly.
Battlefield.
Just all these
That'd
really
be
cool
great,
stages coming through. And the one thing I'm really concerned about that I feel like a lot of people are not talking about is the rights to the music or the compositions and the stage rights, where that was a big issue for a lot of tournaments. I feel like for TOs, how, we couldn't go on some stages. Yeah, if you could address a point about that.
So for music, I work on many Nintendo partner events. There's certain songs that you have to mute, and there's certain victory themes you can't stream. A lot of that is Sonic and and for Wii U it was Sonic and On It or Ness, Sonic, Ness, and Lucas in any of their stages, and then eventually became Cloud in the mix of that because of some kind of contractual agreement. So what is great was when I saw the playlist, you can just mute the songs. So that solves everything. So it's not, so none of the stage are going to be not playable. It's the songs. You just mute it in playlist. So that way you just go in, mute it on. Honestly, a lot of the stuff that I saw, one of the representatives asked a lot of the TOs back a few years ago. I didn't realize he was collecting information, and that was the one thing I asked for him. Was like, is there a way we can just pick the songs we want? Because for me, I would much it's and a lot of people were complaining about, oh, Final Fantasy only has 2 songs. Oh my god, the people just don't realize that there's never been Final Fantasy 7 was never on a Nintendo system. And there's gonna be 2 songs, and I'm 99% sure those 2 songs can't be streamed because it's 1997 PlayStation game. You're dude, just take that L. It's fine. If we're allowed to stream Shadow Moses, a Snake Eater remix, hell yeah, dude. That's gonna be that's gonna be fucking lit, dude. Genesis 6 in that orchestra, the massive theater with that snake. Oh, dude, I'm gonna be bawling. I'm gonna be crying and shit, dude. The song is so good. There's so many good songs. I'm so excited for it. And for me, so you'll probably see that a lot at Genesis 6. There'll probably be songs that'll be muted, and then the players tell, hey, don't unmute that. And then there'll probably be victory songs if you watch streams and you're like, why did the audio cut out for the game audio? Is specifically for that reason. I don't know what characters that would be. It really is contractual on their IP. We have technically 3 Konami characters now. The two Belmonts and then Snake. So hopefully Konami is nicer about their music usage, because I looked at Belmont's music and it's like
34 tracks.
Yeah, I was like,
34.
damn, like okay, Konami's doing that. I think Konami might like be throwing a bone with like a lot of the music. So,
Yeah, and that would be huge, because I know that people are huge fans of these franchises, and that's one thing that it was. I understand the difficulties of having these contractual obligations. It's a business, and obviously every company's for profit, and so when it kind of took away from a lot of the players and spectators, and I feel like is the biggest thing is we want to make sure that our spectators and viewers are having a great time, and sometimes that nostalgia hit from some of these songs is what people really tune in for, and when it's cut out, sometimes it's a little bit upsetting. But hey, we all know that it's a business, obviously, and we want to make sure that we're following all the rules, because ultimately we want to see the game, we want to have the game played. But hopefully, like you said, thank you for that information. That was a lot of really good details about why this was a happening issue.
And for me personally, I'm gonna mute all Animal Crossing music.
Thank you for that.
No, like, and no offense to Animal Crossing, there's some music I like, but man, like, it's been like 5 years, 6 years of just like Smashville and Town and City, and you just be in these stadiums and you're like, oh my god,
have it memorized.
Yeah, you're like,
and it's very difficult to get excited over games where you have the songs themselves are good, but I feel like the environment where last stock, last hit, two players going at it, and you just hear a whistle in the background, and
you're like, oh.
It makes it very difficult to get excited and energetic, and that's what I really, really love about some of the music choices that we did see at the E3 demonstration. And it was so much fun.
It was heart-pounding.
Exactly, it was engaging, and I feel like that's what we've been missing.
So okay, one point you made that I definitely want to make sure that local TOs do is one thing when I'm like I've worked many different fighting major events for the past 3-4 years now, and one thing that the Smash community does not do a good job of, but the fighting community does a great job of, is the downtime in between rounds. That one thing is like it kills the momentum. So the reason why I don't want to do bans just go straight in. Because that's going to be fucking like flat flow is going to look so good. Because you're just going to be like, I lost. All right. I pick, go, boom, done. Like, and it'll be seamless, less than like 10 seconds. Whereas now it's like, I ban, what do you ban? Oh, and it's like 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And you're like, dude, what the hell? Like, go on in the game. Or like Street Fighter, they just go back in. And of course, like, it doesn't, it's a completely different game. Yes. But if we have it where it's a fast flow, and people are just gonna have to deal with it and adapt in the game, whatever stage they use. Because I feel like what you said is a lot of this variations of platforms are you're just gonna have to be able to adapt to it. Like Wily Castle, I am very much foreseeing the no hazards and people just getting laddered. but you just gotta be careful for that. Like it just gotta be ready. Like, and I think the flow of the game is super important, and I don't want to break that because I feel like that. The one thing, my biggest gripe whenever I worked events is that time in between matches where people kind of just lollygag and like I guess like, it doesn't make it as exciting. I just want to go like let's get this done, and then also just it's way more exciting when you're like, oh shit, gotta play. Oh, like you're like, because some people use that advantage to like basically throw off their opponent. Like like especially like he just beat me. I'm gonna take 30 seconds to cool him down. And that happens. I've seen that before. People use that, and I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like, just go. Like, pick the match and just start playing. So I think if we make it where the loser picks, then the winner can't stall. Because then you're like, you like Z, you and I play, and you beat me, obviously. But then you're like, I'm good. I'll be like, I'm go in. I want to go as fast as I can, and then like that way you have like no time to think. You're like, what stage you pick? Like, I just gotta like deal with it. Like it doesn't matter what stage I pick. It's legal, and you got to play with it. And you're like, oh shit, like what is this? Shadow Moses Battlefield. Oh, okay, that's fine. But like it's just like for me, like I think that's gonna be like way more exciting because then I don't have to wait on you to like. Be like, all right, he might be like,
ban this, ban that, strike this, strike that.
It's just,
I really like the fact that, if we have that idea, and I want people to get in the mentality of getting ready to say, you know what, I'm going to get ready. Wherever you want to go, let's do this. Because that's going to not only drive more, I think, this internal struggle to win, but I feel like it's also going to create that entertainment in the crowd as well as for the people viewing, and I think the viewership is the biggest thing that we got to really be careful of.
Yeah, and that's the whole viewership experience, especially if you're at an event. Whenever you're at an event, even for me, like when I'm watching top 8 or especially when I'm watching top 16s, because that's typically like it's just me just running it at that point. And it's like the time in between, like the games, not the sets itself, but it's like like some people just fall asleep like like if it's too long, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to be like really exciting. And then we're gonna have as esports gets bigger. One thing the reason why this is the case is because as we get bigger as an esport for this game, we're gonna have a lot more influx of monetary investment and a lot more ad breaks. Yeah. And these ad breaks are gonna need slots. And I would much rather have sets go fast, and then that way it can fit in 1 hour. I can fit in 6 sets and have one ad break, a 10-minute ad break. Whereas like now it's like it can be like depending on the major, and if it's 2 out of 3. You can fit between like 3 or 4 or 5, depending on like if it's like Sonic Dittos, it might be a little longer, but like that's just the nature of the matchup. But like that's something that I think we just also keep mindful of, is that your local experience at a major is gonna be completely different, just because there's certain monetary needs of like to be fulfilled for certain majors. Like you might have to run a 10-minute ad, also like give a break for the commentators because they're talking for an hour and a half straight. So that's just something that I just also want to keep mindful as we get into this, is that like yes, the players is important. We want to make sure people have time, but we also want to make sure that like it's a good experience for spectators as well. Because really, like if we make it too much on having a long set, it might not be conducive for someone to watch and enjoy. Because right now, like the most watched game on Twitch is Fortnite, is because of the fast pacing, and people just drop in, you just keep going.
Yeah, and I like that. I like the idea of no bans, and the winner, rock, paper, scissors, winner picks a stage. Whoever loses the first game gets to pick the stage, and you're in and you're out, and boom, you're just rolling. I like that a lot. Plus, I feel like more experienced players really know how to if they're going to play the bans, they know how to take advantage of you and just set an inexperienced player up for failure. I've experienced that a few times where I'm just like, dang, I didn't get to pick the stage I wanted to start with, and then his ban kind of hit me, and now I'm kind of stuck. So I like that idea of no bans, opening it up to stages, and it does make it move faster, because you saw that at EVO, mid-set breaks, and that was weird. That kind of threw off the players a couple times. They're like, whoa, what's going on? They had to stall, and they were pausing for like 3-4 minutes while ads go through. So I think if the sets are quicker and we're doing in-between set ads, that will be that'll be beneficial to the players and beneficial to the tournament, especially as you said, Bear. I mean, we're going to see an influx of sponsors, so we need that. Yeah, so I'm curious to see where we're going to go with stages, but I really like those ideas. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm ShockSmash.
And I'm Z. And if you really liked what you watched today, be sure to follow us and subscribe. Also, check out our Twitters at SmashBro_Z.
And it's Steve J. Shockey.
See you guys.
Bye.